Still on This Morning on ITV, your darling station and your program of choice, we brings you Nationalism and You, as we broadcasting live from Papi Hill this morning, the 21st day of July, 2022. We will be taking a look at the issue of turbaning of a declared wanted bandit in Zamfara State. I am Ebenezer Oyetakin, your host, and with me to take a look at this morning is Comrade Haruna Brahimo Gani. Comrade Brahimo is the Director of Media and Publicity Advocacy for Good Governance, West Africa, and Nigeria too. You are welcome to our studio.
Thank you very much.
And in the characteristic of this program, Nationalism and You.
It is my responsibility to uphold the national interests and the duties for the collective growth of Nigeria.
Very beautiful. Yes. You had that report of turbaning of a notoriously wanted and the one who was declared wanted by the Nigerian police and the security forces over killings of so many people, and we all knew what has been happening in Zamfara State. And Emir Alhaji Marafa conferred a chieftaincy title upon him. Over 100 bandits witnessed it. A report says some DIG retired also witnessed it. How did that occur to you? What is your impression? What impression do this create in your heart?
First of all, it reveals a lot and it questions a lot about the seriousness of the government across the three tiers, from local, state, and federal governments, on the issue of security and the fighting of this new terrorism, now be called bandits or banditry. How serious are we really? That is one aspect. Another aspect, from what you just said, that some retired DIGs and others were in attendance, and with more than 100 bandit kickings, part of such celebration, and the Emirate Council of Yadoto Emirate in Tashe local government area of Zamfara State, to have found it necessary to turban such person, then there is much to it. It either shows that there is collaboration. While we cry and wail and complain on the scourge of insecurity ravaging the country, it seems there are some desired interests or vested interests who are culturally, socially, politically benefiting from the scourge. And having looked at the response from the Emirates to the state government, because the state government went ahead to suspend the Emir of Yadoto. And as read in the dailies, their reasons was the fact that the suspected kingpin, Ada Alero, facilitated or played a significant role in brokering peace in Tashe local government over the time. Were they using the turbaning as a way of appreciating the peace he brokered within or among the warring factions of bandits and the local government. So the government should come out straight. At what point does or have we all agreed that a wanted bandit should be turbaned and coronated and celebrated if actually he was wanted by the federal police? Then it questions the synergy, the security synergy relationship between the federal government and the state government. If the federal police can declare somebody wanted, and the state government is not aware that a local chief had a deal with such kingpin to warrant them wanting to use turbanity as a mode or means of appreciation to him, then there is more in all this to explain to Nigeria.
During the turbaning, the emir of Yandoto, Alhaji Marafa, was saying that by turbaning you as second Fulani of Yandoto, we have conferred this on you so that you can maintain peace in Yandoto, in Zamfara, and in Nigeria at large. Many Nigerians said this statement is just a cover-up for the act of criminality of turbaning a wanted notorious bandit. So, your take on this?
If we are serious, if actually what they make us to believe or to understand what the government are saying, it's anything to go by now they should have all be rounded up, be arrested. The emir should have been in the first headquarters in Abuja here. A local musician in Nigeria, a popular local musician that sang Zazu, made a flippant statement on social media. The next thing, the IG of police, immediately, a flippant statement that he is the founder of a 1 million cultist gang in Lagos. He made that statement on social media. Within 24 hours, the IG of police have constituted an order for investigation of that statement. But we are talking of how many days now? If the government is serious, everything that took place in Yadoto, in Tashe local government in Zamfara state, all the possible key players in the old charade of undermining the security interest of Nigeria and the state, all of them should have been picked up and taken to Abuja by now for further investigation. But meanwhile, the state government came from another angle, they set up a committee to investigate the whole issue surrounding the turbaning, what led to it. And let me buttress further that these are the issues we are talking about in the security architecture of Nigeria as a multiplicit society, a multicultural society that we have found ourselves. Crimes, criminality, terrorism, all shades of act of violence is now being used as a negotiable or negotiated tool in the hands of criminals to seek socio-political and economic relevance. And over the years, they'll be going away, they'll be having it and going away with it. In the last 10 years or plus, it's been about the Northeast. In the last 3 or 4 years, it's been about the Northwest. But let's take our mind to 1998. All those, I'm on air. That is one good thing about my position on things. I take advantage of interviews like this to tell Nigeria the truth, to let us look back. We cannot continue like this. In 1998, all shades of violence ended on 1998 towards the Fourth Republic, enthronement of a political democracy. All shades of violence under the coverage of secession, agitation started in Nigeria. Like the Niger Delta agitation threw up all kinds of criminals as agitators who hid under such agitations to vandalize public properties, vandalize our economic worth. Kidnapping started, official kidnapping commenced in that era, and at the end of the day created warlords who became threats to our statehood. 7 years down the line, a lot of persons politically benefited. The governors of that era in that region, this warlord became tool in their hand to negotiate political relevance at the federal levels. The likes of the Ebori, Lucky Benedio, and co. Few years down the Niger Delta, so-called, Niger Delta, I'm an Edo man. The so-called South leaders. Edwin Clark is alive. A day shall come when all of them, if Nigeria must move forward, yes, they have to tell us. They all negotiated on behalf of these boys. They stood by them. Those boys became warlords. These were young men in their 20s and 30s. The Tom Atake, Asari Dokubo, Tompolo, Bolof, and co. Today, economically, they have become men. They have become opinion molders in the society. Remember the controversial Islamic cleric in the Northwest, Sheikh Gumi, under similar cover, threw up, and this Ada Alero was among those kingpin. He was meeting with, telling Nigerians that he could negotiate. They were ready. They were ready to pull down their arms and work for the peace. So I'm not surprised that the Emir of Yadoto is coming out now, telling the world that they are combining him so he could sustain peace. That means there is a peace process they've negotiated with him that maybe Nigerians are not aware of. We knew what happened in the OPC.
No,
those who propounded and founded and fashionalized OPC that led to killings and everything. Today they are the kingmakers in Yoruba land.
Look at it this way. The state government have suspended the emirs. The state government also issued orders that no emirs in Zamfara should turban anybody or give out chieftaincy title without recourse to the state. That being said, is that measure enough for this kind of
The first question you should be asking is, are these rules that the state government is giving out or dishing out now, are they new? We have Minister of Local Government and Chieftaincy, Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs across the 36 states of Nigeria. Are they new that no emirate or no local government, no kingdom or no town give chieftaincy title out arbitrarily? There are due process to follow. You have to able write to your local government chairman, the political office order at the local government level, who in turn you copy the commissioner at the state level.
Many people will tell you, okay?
There was, I strongly feel, let me be a conspiracy theorist, that there's more to all this.
Many people will tell you that in Nigeria, we have seen chiefs, kings, obas, emirs, obis, eze, conferring chieftaincy titles on known armed robbers, known, ritualists, and people of questionable wealth and questionable character, and that kind of a thing. And say, what is the difference between that and this?
A society whose values is on cash and carry. You expect anything. Everything is possible in a society where cash override any other interest, including the values. Yeah, our traditional institution is be rubbished over the time. They are supposed to uphold our traditional values, build their traditional morality into the youth and co. Even today, the whole thing is permeating the religious houses, churches and mosques. All these people we are talking about, they are Muslims. A cleric once stood on, almost became their spokesperson, an Islamic cleric, in the name of speaking for them or wanting peace in his own way. And tomorrow you see these clerics among political gathering, and all of them end up with the same clerics, the same criminals. They all end up in the hands of traditional rulers during electionary too. So it just shows you the kind of society we have found ourselves, whereby money determines any other thing. When money speaks, every other nonsense, sense or nonsense stops.
Now, let us take it further. During the colonial era, even the colonial masters that colonized this country, they realized the important place of the native authorities in the security architecture of a nation. So therefore, they anchored security of regions, states, and localities on native authorities and things of that nature.
Yes.
What has gone wrong? Is it that, where did we get it wrong? Is it that these local chiefs and kings and emirs, they don't understand their place in the chains of security?
They are being administratively carried along. Let me use that word.
Okay.
Yeah, they are just being administratively carried along. Let me go back to your colonial. The colonial master had no more power to execute any formal program. That was why in the first place they came up with indirect rule, which include, yeah, of course, which include providing security. So everything has to go like what happened with the banishing or the dethronement of Obaveram and Ogbasi. May so rest in peace, during the Benin invasion of 1897. They needed the Obaseki, Chief Ago Obaseki, to be used to execute their plan. And they just did that, and it became an administrative head to carry out both for security and whatever. You know, so the same thing happened. That was the basic of the indirect rule, using traditional chiefs and rulers to execute both their security plan, economic plan, whatever, or all sorts of slavery. Then back to what we are talking about. In a democratic setting, Nigerian democracy is not just built on civil rule. It's a constitutional democracy. The constitution have no place, have no functional place or fundamental place for traditional rulers in Nigeria. That is the truth. So that is why, apart from maybe the Great Benin Kingdom, there is no other emir or bar in Nigeria that is equal to a local government chairman by authority. It can be removed by a local government chairman. We don't even need to wait for the state constitutionally. You know, so until we begin to look at these issues, if the security, we need an holistic summit on security, whereby we now decide, that is the role of National Assembly also, we now decide to carry the traditional class along, because actually, by reality, they are closer to the people, you know, and the policing, we are not still operating state police, the policing is still centralized. So there is the need for the National Assembly to look into that aspect. They have almost two years review of constitutional review. I don't know what they do there at times. These are fundamental issues where they need, and the Traditional Council of Nigeria or traditional rulers should begin to push for a bill for proper recognition of their role in governance. There is need for it to be in the constitution, not just by lip service, providing lip service, political lip service to them and for them. At the end of the day, they have no real powers to really do anything.
Because for an emirate to turban a notoriously declared wanted bandit, and the state government feign or
ignorance of
it, it shows a serious dislocation.
That is why I don't want to agree.
Network.
Yeah, that is why I said I don't want to agree. You even mentioned that retired DIGs, some of them were there, as alleged, were there. That is why I don't want to agree that they are not aware of it. There is maybe there is an unofficial arrangement, actually, just like the Emirate said, of a peace process that had happened before, where the so-called kingpin played a crucial role in returning peace to the local government, of which they now felt they needed to appreciate him. Meanwhile, if such arrangement happened, was the federal government carried along? Because the federal government is represented in this old debacle by the federal police, who declared him wanted.
Now, again, like you rightly mentioned, and like many of us are aware, we do not have state police anywhere in Nigeria. All the police we are having are federal government police. This implies that the police that declared the bandit are do what? Wanted is the federal police.
Yes.
Why is the federal government so quiet over this issue as if it is insignificant? Is it because of that same reasons that a local government chairman can remove an emir and replace and the rest of it?
It's an indictment on the federal government. if after, I just told you now that a local musician made was flippant on social media, and the IG of police has considered ordered investigation into his statement. Why are they quiet about a more dastardly act? This issue is issue of national security. It's a threat to national security. Why are they quiet about it? That's why I'm telling you that there is more in this whole thing across the three tiers of government: federal, state, and local government, including the traditional rulers, the governors, the federal government. Maybe they have agents, whatever it is. It just tells you how we, as a country, have not really been serious over the time. If we had treated all the security terrorism, act of terrorism that permeated the system, this Fourth Republic in 1998 and 1999, this way we ought to have done it, not granting amnesty and making them relevant in the whole system today. We will not be having other regions feeling like we can do the same thing. That is why that's why somebody in the region had the guts to tell you to grant Boko Haram and terrorists amnesty. That they are ready to drop arms, that they should be paid, they should be done, they should be, because it's happening. And you see the way the IPOB issue is also going right now. It has turned to, now it's a state terror group as far as Nigeria laws are concerned. And banditry has entered into it. Kidnapping, killings, maiming, all sorts has entered into it. At the end of the day, the heroes of all those criminal acts or the key players will become political, go and mark it, they will become political relevance within now and the next 8 years.
The greatest challenge Nigeria is facing today, the greatest threatening challenge Nigeria is facing today is security challenges occasioned by this banditry and act of terrorism. Call it Boko Haram, call it ISIS, West Africa, and the rest of it. A drastic situation demands a drastic solution and drastic approach. Is the government of Nigeria, state, local, and federal, drastic enough the way we ought to be?
A drastic challenge demands a drastic action. But a situation whereby the drastic challenge was created by this, they cannot deny, they have been indicted. I just told you from 1999 to date, there's no federal government that can, do you know how many criminal acts or reports that have been submitted in Just Crisis, where acts of terrorism takes place along that roads in that area? Do you know how many reports, white papers, even late Solomon La, where is the Solomon La report on how to cover these things? Do you know how many reports that are live fallow in the House of Government across the three tiers of government that have never been implemented as far as insecurity is concerned in the country? Because when a protector becomes part of eliminator, you can never get to the root of it. They are supposed to be the protectors, but one way or the other, directly or indirectly, overtly or covertly, they've been indicted in the whole process. We've seen in this country where catches of arms have found their way from the hands of government security into the hands of criminals. In this country, in history, in 1986, when the Anini criminal terrorism was ravaging the then Bende state, we knew what, at the end of the day, we knew how the role of the police in all that. So it's been a situation whereby those who ought to protect us are actually part of, or one way or the other, encouraging the eliminators. So you can hardly, until we begin to tell ourselves how drastic it is for us, where an act of insecurity will happen, an act of terrorism will happen, and yet the government will feign ignorance of it and go ahead with its regular and daily activities. Look at the daring and audacious criminal act that took place in Kuje prison. You know, and by now, somebody would think or will feel that the investigation should have been drastic, immediate, within 24 hours. No hair that has been rolled. The Minister of Interior is intact. The head of prison is intact. Everybody is just intact, waiting. By the time they prolong the investigation process, the whole thing, other things would have...
Many Nigerians have attributed our security challenges, or rather our festering security challenges, to gross abuses of democracy. Do you agree with this?
Absolutely.
Why so?
Because democracy threw up we have not been able to define our kind of democracy, the peculiarity of democracy that we want as a nation. Everybody just feels democracy is freedom to do whatever you like. Nobody talks about the limitation to every act of freedom as entrenched in the Constitution. Nobody knows about that. Most of them don't know about that. So it has given opportunity to people who feel I can do and undo. At the end of the day, you go to the courts and you see have Nigerian lawyers without act of patriotism coming to defend these criminals, from banditry to terrorism to economic vandals, economic buccaneers, criminals who have looted us dry in billions. They are being granted bail in courts. Some are being granted pardon at the end of the day, all in the name of democracy. You cannot call him a thief until he's convicted. A man that is on trial for 10 years or 15 years and is going about contesting elections, winning governorship posts, becoming governor while his case is still at the FCC. we are simply not serious. No, because we are concentrating on bandits now, Boko Haram, IPOBians, Nigeria militants. These are ordinary Nigerians who have seen crime as the only way to express their anger, to negotiate for national belonging, to be part of the system. You understand? But what of those who we elected with our PVCs to go and drive our interests of economic security, social security, political security, and national security? But they go there, they vandalize the psyche of Nigeria, first of all, psychologically. They vandalize you, they make you feel hopeless in the system, and then they cut away the collective patrimony.
We are rounding up these sessions, and so your last statement in respect of this that put a bad taste in the mouth of Nigeria regarding the turbaning of a notorious bandit and the quietness of those in authority regarding this dastardly
This is a direct indictment on the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration. Yes, let's say the truth. And it's unfortunate that now the Ministry of Information, Federal Ministry of Information, at least the state government has released a statement of Zamfara saying,
but you have just said we have an Inspector General of Police. We have
of course, that's these are the federal.
We have a security forces that declared the ban. So
they declared wanted before. Now that something like this has happened, they should tell us, because there's already something going on. The Emir has made a statement. That statement is far-fetched. Everybody should be involved in that statement.
The president cannot be everywhere. He has delegated.
Of course, the president. That's why I said it's an indictment on his administration, not on his person.
Okay.
His administration covers the IGP, the DSS, and
thank you very much. That is quintessential Brahima Gani Haruna. It's been wonderful talking with you, and we hope that when we have opportunity to beckon on you on another topical issues, you will make yourself available.
Absolutely.
Yes, it has been us here on Nationalism and You. Nationalism and You is about the country. Let us always do what we are doing for God, for the country, and for humanity. And that is Nationalism and You. Don't change the channel as we are the level of discourse, the second segment. With me.